if you could share more about your role, responsibilities, who you work with, and anything you feel is relevant about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Chief Marketing Officer at Timeline. Timeline is a business that empowers financial advisors in the UK. Financial advisors are typically what we might call IFAs. We're looking after everything from someone planning for their retirement as an individual or wealthy families who are looking to make their retirement better or plan for the next generation. We've got some amazing financial planning software that allows the advisor to map out and show their clients different scenarios of how different investments and different choices would give them more money for retirement or less if a reverse scenario takes place. So they can model all that out with the software. And it does some amazing things like fact find, risk profiling, letters which take out time and costs for the advisor. The other thing we've got is what we would call a model portfolio service, all evidence-based investing. So it's the opposite end from an investment like crypto, which would be quite high risk. Ours is looking for an average return over a longer period of time, which is a good result. That's been really adopted by lots of financial advisors. We have this whole ecosystem that advisor can access. Our business has been the fastest growing in the sector for the last 3 years, up to £9 billion of AUM. When I joined, I think we were just above 1 billion. So it's been a whole growth journey. I've tried to design and build a team that's high performance but small. We use a lot of technology. We're always experimenting to develop our tech stack, looking for tools that allow us to punch above our weight in terms of teams with bigger budgets or capacity. We're doing one of the things we got last year was we were named Investment Week's Marketing Team of the Year. So that was quite a big achievement for us as a relatively small team of 6 to 8 people in the business. I guess I'm old enough to remember the days when we built websites with Photoshop and Notepad before content management systems were around. I started off in digital marketing. That was what my master's was in. And then after more than 25 years, have seen a lot of different developments in marketing and always relied on data and numbers as the foundation. In an evidence-based business, I fit quite well.
Makes sense.
That's enough.
No, that's really cool. And it clearly shows the depth of experience, all the waves of marketing tools that you saw as well. When was the last time you had to implement organic growth strategy as high growth strategy? Could you share more about that time?
I've done it in every business I've been in, financial services, non-financial business services. Here at Timeline, when I joined, we didn't really have a marketing department. We had an external agency and one person who was very creative and great at webinars and videos. What was missing was that organic foundation. The websites we had weren't really fit for purpose, and not many people had heard of us at that stage. 1 billion AUM in a trillion AUM industry is tiny. So there were 2 things I had to do: re-establish the brand, and we combined 2 brands into one, which meant we could focus our efforts onto one website, one SEO program, one outreach strategy. That went rather well because I think our industry there's no one small set of SERPs driving a lot of traffic. So there's not one magic SERP that you can say that's got thousands of searches behind it. So we had to look more long tail. We had to make sure we'd got really good quality content that was driving interest. We had to do both flat content and make sure we'd got an engaging series of webinars, make sure that the materials and the brand was very distinctive in the sector. So you can see in the background here, we've got bright pink as one of our brand colours. We try and do things that reflects the people and the people side of the business. So the imagery is quite bright and vigorous and vibrant. But the organic growth is something that within the team is very important, but tends to sit in the background as the side of the business we expect to do well all the time, because we've got an approach that we believe if someone is aware of us, we place a good emphasis on number of impressions we get organically, the amount of engagement we get, and making sure they've got almost a clinical detailed approach to search engine optimization as well. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, and you touched many that tap into it and contribute to it, which makes a lot of sense. And I suppose, what's the most difficult in that process?
I think sometimes with search engine optimization, there's a lot of things that obviously influence it, which then drive into organic growth. It's not quite as visible, the work that you've got to do there. On the one hand, there's the technical side of SEO, for example, making sure you've got the right search terms or number of individual links, or you're looking at your backlinks and all of that. The bit that is visible is where we're posting on LinkedIn and maybe a post doesn't receive many likes or engagements. It can sometimes be quite demotivating, or someone can look at the post and think, oh, it's not very good, when someone in the marketing team's put their heart and soul into it. If you look at the stats from LinkedIn, the number of posts that get 0 likes and the number of posts that get less than 2 is the majority of posts on LinkedIn. So we did a session with the business and said, don't be afraid to post. Part of that picture is not just posting centrally, but getting colleagues in the business to embrace and not just reshare a post, but actually craft it themselves. The way in which colleagues are involved outside of marketing is very important, that strategy. So we coach them, we support them, we give them things to talk about, and that's worked really well.
Okay. If you had a magic wand here, what would you change?
A magic wand would be that someone looking at a product choice from the outside can see whether it does work or it doesn't, because there's a lot of false promises in marketing. The best marketers or the luckiest marketers have a product that really works, that is the best in the sector. And the thing about Timeline is that we charge the lowest fees in the sector and we've got the best performance for our investment portfolios. So for marketing, that's a great thing to talk about. My desire would be that if we pressed a button, everyone that was relevant could see it in an instant. But we know it's much harder than that, particularly the way in which there's so much noise in digital marketing and all the channels that we work in. People can get swamped with lots of messaging that is taking them to a product that isn't fit for purpose. So there's that filter at the start that says, here's the ranking of football players, for example. We see which player is the best, which player is worth the most. And that's what orders the state of play. For most products, that's not the case. You can have a product that's not as good, that's getting more attention. So
Yeah.
that would be great, that the truth is out there and everyone can see the truth.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Always worries me personally as well. Like, well, we great marketing, but does it align with the truth of the product as well? From your experience, seeing a variety of tools for growth marketing come and go and all these trends, what do you think is missing in SEO growth tools or latest innovation tools, whatever you feel like is relevant to share, yeah, from your opinion?
Yeah, I think on the organic side, the appreciation that investment into a brand sometimes doesn't sit as comfortably in a business as it should. Marketers are often in a place where it's all about growth hacking and marketing that instantly produces a return. But the organic side of business does require investment over a longer period of time. Investing into a brand in our business is understood. Very lucky that's the case. The patience that a business has to have to realize there's no magic solution where brand awareness, for example, will go up. If you spend millions and millions of pounds, it's got to be sustainable. A business has to have patience. They've got to understand that investing time into SEO is not an overnight solution. It doesn't work in the same way as AdWords. Spending money there might produce lots of leads that are then going to buy. So I think that patience to understand that there's different levers we can invest in, they'll all have a different return on investment over time. It might not be obvious from a single email that it's produced a result. That's why attribution is so important. Most of my time at the moment is spent on connecting up activity with data. I'm lucky that we've got that allow me to do that in touch of a button. So I'm looking at what's the best matrix of activities, how can I attract the biggest deals that we want to attract, and what components would work the best. I think for a business to maximize its potential, it does require patience as much as it requires some things that get attention straight away. It's that patience that these things will pay off maybe over a 12 to 24 month period, not like in a week.